Alrighty. Hello everyone. Welcome to an Eternal event. Let's see. This is going to be just me solo casting this. Well, hopefully this goes off without too much of a hitch, but we'll see. Yeah, so let's see. You know, Oxo, you're talking me up a little bit, saying that I know what's going on in Eternal. We'll see. We'll see. But Sportsmetal is very often built around Game Changer and just trying to stick a couple of assets, like usually trying to stick one or two assets on the board. The other thing will be kind of combo-y lists that try and do Breaker Bay Grid and calibration testing, Arella Salvatore, team sponsorship to score out lots of agendas quickly. Sportsmetal ends up being a pretty nice call in a lot of situations. Okay, so this looks like it's going to include the Arella Salvatore combo. The idea is that you can actually make a lot of clicks and score a lot of agendas, and even score agendas clicklessly with Arella Salvatore. So we're seeing Wizard go right off the top. Now, this Page Piper is a pretty uncommon include in Eternal. It's a pretty slow card in a lot of cases, but it has a really nice interaction with crowdfunding. I'm realizing I can pull up my image thing. I also apologize, the stream's gonna be a little bit all over. It's gonna be interesting for me to try and get everything going, but or maybe I'll pull up that thing in between rounds. Okay, so I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit. So again, we just have a pretty classic HB of just I'm gonna keep installing stuff. Wizard getting down Blue Moose is actually really nice. We already Page Piper powering up Blue Moose is pretty solid. You know, this Page Piper has been 2 clicks, draw 4 kind of. Advanced Assembly Lines is one of those really fun cards in Eternal. It's something that people don't use. Like, it looks pretty innocuous. It ends up being really good with Estelle Moon. And we see the power of Wizard here. Wizard right now has been a click for, well, I guess only 4 credits. Could potentially be a click for 6 pretty early. But yeah, getting four credits off of your ID by turn 2 is pretty good. We see team sponsorship res. Are we going to see an agenda score already? Oh, wow. Okay, server 1 has been sitting there as an agenda. It's a 3-1, probably a... Oh, okay, this wasn't what I was going to guess it was. I was going to guess it was the superconducting hub, but the Mega Pre-Qualifier makes a lot of sense. Gaining 2 credits, and you probably just reinstall either the... do you reinstall the Arella? No, they reinstall the Advanced Assembly Lines. I think that makes a little more sense, as Advanced Assembly Line keeps you going forward in tempo. Oh, and I don't have access to the Streamlabs, lol. Okay, I'll need to talk with Mike about that. But and then trashing it to install an unseen card from HQ. So the important thing is this can't be an agenda, but it's quite good. Yeah, team sponsorship, the power of it really is installing a card from archives. Being a 4 to trash card is just very strong. Alright, so what do we access here? So it's a Spin Doctor to get a Spin Doctor. And then we're going to probably let Wizard trash the Spin Doctor. So Wizard has now gained 6 credits across 3 turns. Pretty good. 2 credits a turn's like, it's a lot. Runner is clicking back up for credits. Blue Moose is keeping them in the game pretty handily here. It's not, you know, I would probably rather be Corpier slightly. I think it's a slightly better position. I think that's probably what we're seeing here. And like this is team sponsorship. You know, probably I'm guessing this Elvigar bifurcation was in hand, and so you get to gain 2 credits and then install the Spin Doctor from the team sponsorship. We're just seeing like team sponsorship is such a lovely little card here. It just enables a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, so We're seeing lots of valuable stuff happen. Medium might be one of those cards I don't want to get in the keep, but there's probably some level of recursion. And medium is one of those cards like, to pre the Automata initiative, I think people would have said, why is medium seeing play in Eternal? And now that people are in the Automata initiative meta and we're seeing that if you can make R&D free, that Conduit becomes really good. And medium is a much more powerful Conduit in a better faction for Eternal, in general. And so I think it makes a lot of sense now. And we're just gonna see medium on the first dig went and trashed some cards. Now it's these 3 cards on 2 runs, and then it steals. So I think it probably saw like 4 unique cards this turn. It's pretty good and does force the Corp to come up with some answers. This is definitely the calibration testing combo now. The goal of this deck is to get multiple team sponsorships installed along with an Arella Salvatore. So Arella, if you have an agenda and you score out of an Arella Salvatore remote, you get to install a card with an advancement counter on it. Then you can use team sponsorship to recur calibration testings into that remote server, then res and pop it to place another advancement token. If you have 2 team sponsorships that are alive, you can do that twice as long as you have 2 calibration testings, and you can score a 3-1 spending 0 clicks. It would cost you 6 credits, but usually this deck will also play Breaker Bay Grid, which reduces the res cost of cards in the server by up to 5 credits, and so you can actually do the whole thing for free, and you do it all in a single paid ability window, which is maybe the grossest part of the whole thing. I think not trashing the team sponsorship seems like a little bit of a mistake here. You have to trash them at some point. In the meantime, you're slowly powering up the Game Changer finisher. Game Changer is one of the Eternal pointed cards, and we haven't seen a lot of Eternal pointed cards out of Wizard. Blue Moose is definitely an Eternal pointed card. Okay, this is a card you do not see very often, but maybe makes sense with how Ice Light the format is, and maybe with CI it can be a thing. I think it's generally a pretty slow card, one I'm pretty surprised to see in Eternal. But not a terrible call, right? You can actually sweep HQ pretty effectively against Sportsmetal, and if you can get to their Game Changer, you're in a pretty happy position. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my streaming stuff open. Yeah, Nerve Agent. So one of my very first GNKs I went to, I was playing a Nerve Agent Chaos Theory deck, and managed to completely luck sack a win off of basically having a Nerve Agent, a Corroder, and just keep like locking HQ before my Astro opponent could assemble the combo to score out. I think I like stole their first like Astro script on a lucky pull, and that was basically that was enough to get me there. So let's see. I just want to make sure. Okay. Great. Now. Oh shoot. Corp can probably win here, but if they can't, they need to ice HQ for sure. It's difficult. So they do have the 2 team sponsorships, but they would probably need something like a shipment for Mirror Morphs, which I feel like they should be running. Shipment for Mirror Morph would let them go install a card, install up to 3 cards from HQ, so you can install the Agenda, the Arella, and a Breaker Bay Grid, and then do some addition, like start doing some kick flips and stuff. But install Ice on HQ, install 2 new Numerotes is a pretty solid line here. Learner's only going to be on 3 credits. They can and probably should trash one of your team sponsorships here. But the combo is very close to being assembled, and Elvigar probably assembles the combo here. Project Vacheron, this is another card that's Eternal pointed. It is one of the most... it's interesting, because Vacheron actually has some downsides in Eternal. The runner has more ways of getting agendas into archives. But it's still extremely powerful, right? Now the corpse is going to have the option to click and spend 1 click and gain 5 credits. So this is a pretty happy place for the research. Yeah, Research Grant is a card we're seeing somewhat, like, it's not actually unheard of. It's definitely a little bit on the jankier side for Sportsmetal. I suspect it's probably slightly better to run a superconducting hub. But you can do stuff with Shipment for Mirror Morph where you score a bunch of these all in one go, which is a pretty fun thing to do. And now I have to figure out why my code is breaking and commentate at the same time. Lucifer, this is going to constantly be the thing, is going, can I combo now? This is like the thing that a lot of people I think will not enjoy, may not enjoy that much about Eternal. There's a lot of, okay, there's a lot of combos and figuring out, like, okay, do I have enough to go off deterministically, or do I delay a little bit and try and go off in a future turn? But Corp really has 5 turn, or there's 4 turns here to figure it out. But yeah, this is overall a quite good board state for the corporation. Runner does have 2 of the bin breakers, and the ones most likely to actually be useful in the matchup there. So if we say remove an I Had Worse from the deck, we'll go up to 4. Still, like, click for a credit and then run. Probably click for 2 credits and then try and medium R&D and see if you can get the win off there. It's going to be tricky, but it seems like a possibility. An ice install is pretty surprising to me. I feel like that's the thing you need the least, but it is actually a pretty safe line here. So asking the runner, do you have Stim Hack to go and get into the server? And oh, well, that's obviously the issue. Okay. Okay, so we see crowdfunding. This is the synergy, that point with Page Piper. You install crowdfunding and you get to put 2 more copies of crowdfunding in the bin. Or no, is it just 1? For any number. There's no way we're only on 1 crowdfunding. Huh. That's unusual. That's not what I would expect to see there. Ablative Barrier is also really nice here. Threat 3, we get to go and install an Arella or a calibration testing. Actually, I guess the Arella's gone. Second one is in the heap. Right, but there should be 3 of these, I think. And Page Piper does allow you to search your stack for any number of copies. So... Alright, so this is... do we see what the install was? This is a face down. I think if this is a Spin Doctor, you let the... okay, it's an Estelle Moon. So this is... Estelle Moon is one of the power cards in the format. Yes, you're correct. The other one was just in their hand. So Estelle Moon just says whenever you install a card in a server, place 1 power counter on Estelle Moon, and then draw a card and gain 2 credits for each power counter on Estelle Moon. There's a lot of ways to click compress. If you put her behind a single piece of ice, she's often very obnoxious to get through. It looks like, though, we probably have the combo assembled here. I think because we know this is a team sponsorship, all Lucifer needs to have in hand is an Elvigar Bifurcation, and they can probably combo win right now. Because if they score the Elvigar, they probably, yeah, they should be able to just get in here. And apologies for the stacking, it's just going to make things much easier. Okay, Game Changer means they should win almost all the time here. They are on 2 credits. They don't need any more credits, though, for the rest of the game. Are all oh, you're right, all Elvigars are on the table. So they're going to need to probably click for a credit and then triple advance. And then they should be all set. Let's see. So Game Changer. Yeah, I guess it actually depends what they score here. Okay, so Mega Pre's good. They need... I mean, they actually have a bit of an awkward path here. Game Changer, one of the power cards in the format. It is also Eternal Point. I should have all the Eternal Points memorized at some point, but I don't. So we're going to install team sponsorship and probably install another team sponsorship. And then we're probably... I don't know what the hand is. Sportsmetal is probably going to draw 2 cards, and then you can install with Arella a card off of the hand. Yep, so we've got 2 Excali testing and archive, so those are just going right in. Sportsmetal's going to draw, and now we're going to do the Arella trigger to hopefully install an agenda in server 15. If Lucifer doesn't have an agenda here, the combo actually ends, and they quite possibly lose on 0 credits. I would say even probably lose on 0 credits. The runner can probably find 3 more agenda points with a 3-stack medium and a 1-stack nerve agent. Let's see. Lucifer might just be deciding which card to work on, or there might be some lag. We'll see. Oh, there it goes. Okay. A card goes into server 15. Oh. It's an Estelle Moon. Okay, so we're going to go install an upgrade in server 15. Are we going to then immediately pop Estelle Moon to draw a card? So we... Yeah, I guess that's correct, right? We basically spend 1 click to draw a card and gain 2 credits. And we whiff. Okay. That's not great for Lucifer. Dane is pretty happy here. It's a little surprising. I think these Sportsmetal lists are usually on about, I want to say like 13 to 14 agendas. Might be a little bit different from that. Let's see. So 3 Elvigars, 3 Hyperloops. That's 6. Probably another 3 research grants. That's 9. Haas is 10. I think you probably take a Luminal for 12. 2 Vacherons for 18. Plus another 2, and I've already lost track here. But yeah, this is the Corp is at 3 credits. You just have to start hitting centrals here. And hope that you steal 7 points off of R&D. It's going to have to probably be a singles. You actually don't need to worry about running HQ anymore, which is great. And look for drawing the top 2 cards. We're trashing a Breaker Bait Grid. A Cyberdex Virus Suite is a big hit here. That's a huge deal for Lucifer. I think honestly, if I'm Lucifer, I might even pop the Spin Doctor to shuffle it back in. Though I could also see the Wizard player just going in, because you only need to trash the calibration testings to really turn this off. And yeah, you don't run HQ, because if there were agendas in HQ, Lucifer would have scored out. As I say that, he finds an agenda in HQ, but I don't think it's it's not an agenda you were excited to find. Because it's really not going to put you any closer to winning. Going to 5 is, I'm going to say, suspicious here. So the Nerve Agent, definitely paying off. Maybe you want to go to 5 because you don't want to draw 2 agendas and you only have 1 agenda in your hand. Okay, we see a Meridian Res. Okay. So this is a tricky choice for the... I guess not that tricky of a choice for the runner. You just go and break the Meridian with a paperclip. And put 2 copies of paperclip in. So despite not actually drawing that many times, Dane has done a great job of getting through his deck. We see a Game Changer, and it cannot be trashed. We see the crowdfundings come down. This is the cool thing about crowdfunding. All right, so Lucifer needs to... I'm guessing that's maybe the 3rd calibration testing in server 15. So probably can try and just draw and find an agenda. I could also see popping the Spin Doctor there to break R&D lock. I don't think we need this team sponsorship for anything, though. I guess getting back Estelle Moon is not terrible. Okay, yep, advanced assembly lines so that we go up on credits instead of down on credits. 3 team sponsorships. I don't think you actually need the 3, but oh, it probably is so that you can install Estelle and then install the calibration testings. Yeah, okay, this is making some more sense now. Yeah, okay. No, actually, the 3rd team sponsorship does make this much more consistent. Though, actually, it doesn't. Because you don't have a window to res the Estelle Moon when you're doing the 3 calibration testings. But I guess you only actually need 2. So you'll get it on the 2nd agenda score. So if you have 2 agendas in hand but need the 3rd, you can go score this agenda. It's a Hyperloop extension. So now you put Estelle in a new remote. You put the... Yep, so we're drawing 2. We're trying to get, I guess, Estelle in a new remote, 2 calibration testings, and the advanced agenda. Estelle will see none of this. Or we're just going to put 3 calibration testings, because why not, right? And this is actually what you need to win. And the team sponsorship wasn't actually any... I guess if it's... Yeah, because you don't need it for the 3 ones. So probably just a click to draw was better. But I guess if they're trying to score a Vacheron... Okay, Spin Doctor to draw. I like that. I'm gonna pop advanced assembly lines. We have an Estelle Moon to come down from hand here. Okay, so this is probably going to take us up to 6. Oh, okay, you do this advanced assembly lines thing. Because if you miss here, you get Spin Doctor... Callie? Draw the Spin Doctor. No, that doesn't work. Oh, I guess if you have the 3rd Spin Doctor in hand, then you've got choices, right? Because then you can go Callie, pop the Spin Doctor with the advanced assembly lines to try and see 2 more cards. Yeah, so Lucifer, I think, missed their combo, and they have to think about what's the best way to get the combo off here. Oh, that's true. We do have Game Changer money. Yes, I forget that Game Changer's a card. Let's see. Yeah, Game Changer definitely. I always forget the Game Changer the thing. Um, looks like a pre-rotation Thule in the score area. Definitely does. Man, imagine Thule with a Project Vacheron, though. That would be something else. Um, okay, so we're recurring Spin Doctor, Advanced Assembly Lines, Cali testing. We're resing Advanced Assembly Lines or resin calibration testing. We should probably be resing the Spin Doctor here. Um, Here comes the Game Changer. We now have 7 clicks. If Lucifer can't win from here, something has gone very, very wrong. Um, is this going to be an Estelle Moon or something? No, it's just another Advanced Assembly Lines. Are we going to play a second Game Changer? Just to dab on them? Fast break. Let's go. The other possible dab. Okay, so you gain 7, draw 7 for 4. And then you get to install up to 7. So, and then anything will do here. Yeah. I mean, this is you now have enough clicks to purge. This is maybe one of those rare clicks that can get a Jeeves and a Wage Workers click, I think, off of manually purging. But yeah. Yeah, so Dane has, in fact, scored 11 points and loses the game. And yeah, this is Eternal. I actually think the Sportsmetal deck has some natural predators. I think Dane's deck can do okay against it, but it requires... well, it probably requires sure gambles, which sure makes it tricky. And then if you can just trash all the Game Changers, that helps a little bit. Though obviously Archive Memories is not banned in Eternal, so it only helps so much. Okay, and now we have 100 card max versus Architects of Tomorrow. Yeah, Slums would kill the calibration testing. My favorite is just Clan Vengeance. It's not, they don't go so fast, and if you don't if you can get an early Clan Vengeance down, you can just blow them up pretty quickly. They play Game Changer, and then you Clan Vengeance their whole hand, and you maybe don't actually steal that many agendas, so that their Game Changer, they have to score out kind of slowly. As we saw, that deck was all 1-pointers, basically. So quite tricky. Dane going for what looks to me like Prison Corp. We've got HB Architects of Tomorrow, which is a pretty uncommon Eternal ID, and then Scarcity. I'm not sure what AOT is going to be running from the Eternal Points list. Scarcity, maybe just value cards, so stuff like Spin Doctor. Maybe we're going to see some Jinja Architects of Tomorrow. We've got Patchwork out of Max. I wouldn't be surprised. Currents should be larger on the screen. Oh yeah, if there are people that are watching that don't know what currents are, these are a card type that's been banned from Standard and Null Signal games. I would not personally mind if they got banned from Eternal as well, but I think it's probably, that's not the point of the format. This card is not trashed until another current is played or an agenda is stolen. So this is a corp card. It will only get cleared when the runner goes and steals or plays their own current. Oh, yeah, crowdfunding ignores the install cost increase of Scarcity, the one card that does it. Enhanced Login Protocol feels better here, but I guess you don't have a lot of influence for all the points cards anyways. Enhanced Login Protocol is definitely an option. Scarcity is just an impactful current for how much it slows down your opponent. Like, there's a lot of impactful resources that cost 0 to 3 credits, and making those cost 2 to 5 is often a shift in tempo that that doesn't actually work. Yeah, so the interaction here, and one of the cool things about Max is that she makes money off of Strike Fund, and the interaction with Patchwork is weird, where you can, let's say Lucifer has a sure gamble in their hand, they can, or he can pitch the Strike Fund to gain 2 credits off of Patchwork, 2 credits off of Strike Fund, and play the sure gamble from 0. So that is, I think, what's just being sorted out right now. Lucifer is missing this as a resource, I think. Yep. So scarcity. This is what I mean by scarcity being a really impactful card. Throwing off the runner's math by 2. Like, most economy cards are balanced around giving about 4 to 5 credits worth of value. When you make that 2 to 3 credits worth of value, they just don't become worth playing anymore, and you've slowed down the runner by a ton, as we're seeing here. For 100 card backs, it's hard to say exactly what they're doing. I suspect it's play the best Anarch cards, and honestly, it's probably still good enough in Eternal. Or, when I say good enough, it's probably alright. I don't think it's probably going to be the best thing, but we will see. Oh, shoot. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to pause commentary on this game while I hop over into a judge thing. Oh, shoot. Okay. I don't think so. Okay, yeah, this was the fun interaction of if you play an overclock and you're approaching the empty server, do you have to pop your overclock credits before the empty gets to go and do something? And I think you do have to, you do actually have to do that. So, okay. Back to this game. So, we go Patchwork on a Strike Fund, lowering the install cost of Blue Moose by 2. So we career fair Strike Fund the Blue Moose. Wow. 3 for 1. Okay. And then Dane just ice, ice, ice. We see a Faust. We see a Stim Hack. We see a build script played. We see a Patchwork to get a Dread Laundry in for +5. Discarding Black Orchestra. So we're getting lots of value. Like, Max is drawing us an effective 3 cards per turn a lot of the time here, which is pretty good. Yeah, build script definitely feels to me like we're trying to play maximum size. Well, it's not even maximum size. Build scripts are pretty uncommon. Anarch include. It just doesn't do that much for you, and it's not like great influence spend. All right, we see the big one come out. It's Fairchild 3. We see a Mayfly came down for the first click, so we could spend, what is this, 4... It's actually not bad, 7 credits for the Mayfly to get through. It's much cheaper than the roughly $1 trillion you'll play with a Black Orchestra, which is, what, 3 to boost twice. So yeah, you have to pay Black Orchestra 9, so it'd be 12 total credits to get in. And we see Arctics tomorrow say, hey, Fairchild 3, Ravana 1.0, Anarch is going to be real sad. And the Spin Doctor is nothing you're too sad to see that on our trash here. Runner should probably just go and run HQ a couple of times here. Because on 1 credit, Corp's not going to be able to do anything, and you do need to steal an agenda to clear the scarcity. I would not be shocked if there's pretty limited recursion tools in this Anarch list. Just because if you have 100 cards, why would you play recursion? But Dane getting up to 4 credits, that's really good for him in terms of being able to res a lot of ice. There's a lot of low cost, 3 cost Bioroids that you want to play, though. I guess there's a lot more 5 and 6 cost Bioroids you want to play. So we'll see. Max getting rid of daily cast and 0, drawing a card. We're clicking to draw again. I'm really hoping we see some runs on HQ. I think this is basically you have to revert back to just playing good Netrunner more or less. Faust is pretty good Netrunner though. This is one of the power cards for a long time. It actually got power crept out of the format, and with cards like Fairchild 3, not Ravana so much though. But typically you backed up Faust with stuff to deal with 5 strength ice, though Fairchild 3 scaled really well against that stuff. We see this Max is very, very heavy on stuff that gets eaten by eating a lot of their cards, so I'm assuming we're going to see even more draw engine on top of the base Max engine, and we've seen some zeros hitting the bin, which is not really that good of a draw engine, but is something. We're clicking to draw. I would still love to see HQ. Oh, I need to figure out how to not have all caps messages get timed out. Apologies about that, Aksu. Okay, we see a Maw coming down. That's really funny. Oh. It's not what we're seeing. Okay. Hitting it with Steel Skin, I think makes more sense. So now we have to run HQ, right? We're not going to not put down a Maw and make a run. So now Dane has to figure out if it's worth for him to res this ice. It's going to be tricky. Ooh, okay. This is an ice I don't recognize immediately. Naj 1.0. Just 2 end the run barrier subroutines for 2 credits. Honestly, not terrible. Actually, a little bit above curve even, I would say. Something like a Spiderweb is like a 4 for 3 with 1 strength. See an iPad worse than the same old thing hit the bin. Interesting. Ravana gets res on the remote, so we definitely want to see some parasites or something. We see a Friends in High Places in HQ. This is a card that I'm not exactly sure what it's here for, but I'm sure we're not going to enjoy it. Friends in High Places, though, just says often reset the runner's last turn. It is quite good. So this is quite solid. We see a second stim hack going and a liberated account as well. So lots of money in the bin. This just looks like Reg Anarch from Lucifer, which is fine. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm keeping on top of stuff. Cool. What is... Oh, you know what? I'm going to do a quick audio test on myself because I realized I missed a ping earlier. Okay. We get a little bit of music in the background as well. So everyone wins. Let's see. Lucifer wondering why they have to pay so much for the Amakua. It's because they got rid of their own patchwork. One day maybe we'll get Johnny 2 consoles who can play 2 consoles and use both effects. In the meantime, we have the pretty wonderful Ma. Oh, that could be a fun console where like it gives 0MU, then it says like click, pay the install cost of a console hosted on here. This console gains any text on host console. Client Vengeance is an interesting one to discard. It is one of the eternal pointed cards in this list. Someone did ping me here. Oh, okay. Nope, someone pinged me in something else. Okay. Is it not just busted to get the correct thing for the matchup every time? I mean, you're spending lots of console slots, right? So I'm not even sure it's that great. Okay, and now we see our Friends in High Places. Friends in High Places does not ignore install costs, so are we just... Okay, oh, we're installing the Spin Doctor and something else. I'm trying to think what you would do, like... Because I was about to say gains all active text, but I think the point is that you don't want to get the plus MU. Like, the Johnny 2 consoles is, like, struggling for MU. But yeah, people can give it a shot. Both cards came from the bin. Silver 2 with Spin Doctor. Removing a daily cast. Trashing another Blue Moose and a Liberated. Blue Moose is like... It's interesting to me as an Eternal card. I keep putting it in Eternal decks and then going, did this actually pay me that much? Blue Moose is really good in a slowish format where it becomes one click, gain a lot of, gain 2 credits per turn for no cost, right? So it's a 1 card Super Rozeki. But if the game's over in 8 turns, if you don't see this by turn 3, like, or even on turn 2, right? You get triggers on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's only giving you it's only will have made you 6 credits by the time you take your, or I guess maybe 8 credits by the time you take your last turn. So like it's a really good economy card, but not like intense. Let's see. Ah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, while the runs just sort out some run stuff. No Biroids to res unless this is a... Actually, no, Jeeves isn't a Biroid, right? Okay, we're seeing the big boys. Janus 1.0. This is, I would say, a pretty fun, janky card. I'm not, would not expect it to be that solid. But 15 credits and 8 strength, do 4 core damage is pretty good. Where the Oversight AI at? There's also a Biroid version of that card that I want to remember what it's called. I think it's just called Biroid something, right? Bioroid efficiency research. Red piece of Bioroid ice ignoring all costs and install Bioroid efficiency research on it. Trash Bioroid efficiency research and de-res host ice if all of its subroutines are broken in a single encounter. There is also Awakening Center, technically, yes. That card does exist. Okay, we see Dane settling in for the long game. He just clicks for 2 credits and installs an ice on HQ that he's hoping to get for free when Lucifer runs through. Lucifer probably is looking to get up to 5 strength on the Amakua and can then start running R&D, running server 1. These are all options. We could even expose this ice on HQ, probably, and make the run. Because with a Faust and a 7-card hand size, I'm not sure that we really need the 3 credits, but we'll see. Now we're going to make the run. Yeah, basically I was thinking you expose the ice so that you get the Amakue counters up a bit faster here. But yeah, I think I'm probably spending 2 here rather than 2 cards. That is, in fact, Lucifer agrees with me here. We see a second Nausea 1.0. I would really love to see some ice destruction here. Maw hits again. I'm definitely a little tempted to run Archives for 3 credits here and then like run R&D for 2. We're dripping for 2 a turn. Maybe we spend Faust on the Ancel. It would be 5 cards for my grip, or 4 cards for my grip though, which is probably too many cards. Keyhole. Oh boy. Okay, so we are probably gonna go boost, 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 or boost, boost, break, break. Keyhole is one of the best cards that oh, okay, with a steel skin in hand, this break looks great. That you would like, if Netrunner was a digital only game, Keyhole I think would be like one of those cards that gets played forever. But because of physical limitations and how much Keyhole requires you to shuffle, it is really a pain in the butt for in-person play. Keyhole says click, make a run R&D. If successful, instead of accessing cards, look at the top 3 cards of R&D. Trash one of those cards at no cost, and the corpse shuffles R&D. So Stargate is a thing that people probably remember. Is in standard at the moment. Keyhole was the original card that Stargate is riffing off of. The shuffle clause being after the Keyhole access is a big deal because it breaks R&D lock. But it does mean if the runner can just mash the Keyhole button every turn, it becomes a win quite quickly in a way that almost no other repeated R&D multi-access is, which is pretty notable. So we as the viewers don't get to see. All we see is an Eli gets trashed, and then Corp purges, which I actually like quite a bit here. It makes it very annoying for Lucifer to charge back up and get in. Oh, you know what? I should... Keyhole does not reveal. Okay, we see Max ditching a Strike Fund and an Imp. Strike Fund and Max feels good. I definitely want to look a little bit more seriously at like a slim Max deck with a dedicated game plan, using Strike Fund and Steelskin Scarring to like blitz through your deck at a pretty unreasonable speed, which we'll have to see if that happens. Lucifer just drawing up. We're going to Keyhole, so we're going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 cards from the grip. Yeah, we really want like a 1 strength reduction here. Steelskin obviously helps a little bit. I suspect that's why we're going for this line at all. The thing that's a little bit tricky about this line is it doesn't actually... I really actually would like the Bankar here, I think. It's basically cuts the Faust cost in half. Yeah, this is where the JNet interface can be a little bit annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, Lucifer's figuring it out. Yeah, you have to keep clicking on Faust. You can't do some kind of click all thing. But we're seeing, like, we're halfway through Max's deck on, what is this, turn 9? I mean, that's a little bit slow for Eternal, but not terrible. Keyhole did have to compete with Medium, but it was stronger a lot of the time. Like, Keyhole was legitimately much more powerful than Medium for a hot second. Because, you can think about it this way, like, if I have 4 free clicks in R&D, I can either see the top 4 to 5, maybe 6 cards if I get lucky, right? With Medium, or I can see 12 cards and trash 4 of them. That one's usually much better, and sometimes wins you the game on the spot. So, Keyhole was widely considered, I think maybe not widely considered, it was a little bit stronger, but it had some other downsides. It cost 1 more credit back in an era when credit costs were a much bigger deal, and then also being 2MU meant it was a little bit limited and tricky. And yeah, Keyhole was also really good against combo decks and personal evolution, which was a big deal. It's like if you think about it, like, your Medium has to probably be clicked like 7 or 8 times to match up. Okay, we see another scarcity in HQ. Okay. Oh yeah, Oxo, I agree that Cody Jones was wrong. I just think that Keyhole probably was better than Medium for the format that people were in. Because one of the other things to remember about the Keyhole meta was that it was also the account siphon meta. And so if you could account siphon the corporation and then trash their recovery tools off of R&D, that was better for you. And like, even if they end up drawing agendas, it's better for you for them to draw things they can't work with and trash the things they can't. Yeah, people have tried to claim to me that the game was much slower back then, and like, in theory that can make some sense. I think in practice you have to be so absurdly slow for that to work, that I'm more than a little dubious that it was actually correct back then. Yeah, Eater Siphon Keyhole was the big thing. The game definitely was slower, 100%. There was no way the game wasn't slower. But once Daily Cast comes out, it's really hard for Cody Jones to match up. It's like, Cody Jones is better than Daily Cast if you can install, like, on the same turn you install the Cody Jones, you install the Daily Casts, you don't need any of the credits for 6 turns, and then you can start coming out ahead. And turns where you, like, yeah. So it's like, I did not play competitively back then. I played very casually back then, and it's plausible that Cody Jones as a 1x was correct. I think as a 2x, it's a little bit dubious to me. Here we see Employee Strike. This is an interesting use of Eternal points in this. Hey, Rodage, it's me, Jeff, Uzengren on comms, and it's just me. Yeah, that's true, Mike. The agenda densities were higher. We're back actually to those agenda densities back then, and we were seeing a lot more stuff like, AstroScript was a thing. Um, we've trashed like 4 or 5 cards into archives off of Maw now, I think. Actually, I think it's probably you run HQ one more time just to get to 4 strength, and then you run archives, I think. Yeah. Team Confidence video is a big thing. There was Teamwork Cast. Andre's channel even has some videos from back then. And I would say, like, it's not, what's the word? There's a league that gets run every now and again. And it's interesting because it's like, I agree that ends up not feeling like Ret Runner, I think. Yeah, the Ret Runner League on GLC. Like, those end up feeling very different because we have learned more about the game. Like, it's one of those interesting things where I always think about, like, oh, we must have gotten things right away, and, like, good players were doing good things, and then they'll, like, go and watch history videos on, like, Magic the Gathering, and, like, oh, like, the invention of the curve took several years. I'm like, okay, it probably is true then, that it took us some time to figure out what was good in Netrunner, and one of those things being good in Netrunner was, yeah, Faust, like, the Dumble Fork deck, which is Faust, Wild Side, and Adjusted Chronotype, was a legal deck, I think, for Worlds 2015, or was it 2014? One of the two. I think 2014. And then completely took over the game in 2015. Like, just completely changed how the game was played. But it was completely legal for Worlds 2014. No one found it, and it got found like 2 or 3 months later, which was wild. Anarchs were thought to be a joke factory, but they've been doing stuff for a while. Like, the Anatomy of an Anarch deck was a good Anarch deck for a while there. And, literally the whole card package was legal. So it's just a matter of people took some time. I think it might have been used as a spot breaker for Dan. Actually, I don't think it really got used much at all. Because, like, it wasn't that... We were still kind of in a Ottman Kate meta, so, like, wraparound was not unheard of. Blackmail Val was a truly hated deck. My last match in the Eternal League on GLC, if you want to join, we're up to over 10 people now, which is fantastic. I lost to Blackmail Val as CI because I had just an abysmal draw. They got a single Clan Vengeance trigger, which was the winning agenda after they, like, blackmailed. They Clan Vengeance to hit the Vacheron out of my hand on, like, a 1 and something. I have no idea who owns Akku. It's like a super out of date site at this point. Like, it has a lot of issues and it runs quite slowly, but I would love to find out who needs it or who runs it. Yeah, apologies. I'm not really talking about the game. This is just like Corp is trying to stabilize, purging, keeping this Amakua down. Runner is trying to figure out, how do I afford to get through this million, like, get through the centrals here. Because, we haven't seen any parasites yet, which, if we're going to run 100 cards but not run Parasite, I'm going to ask what you think you're doing. Yeah, this is much closer to regular Netrunner than I would expect. Like, in all of my Anarch builds, they're trying to play Reg. I'm probably including some number of Parasites because the card is quite good. But yeah, this does look like no Ice Destruction Anarch, which I think is a little bit suspect. or at least it implies a different proposition of the game. So what are we going to do here? I think we can probably let the trace fire here. And then it's just 4 credits to go in. That's not terrible, honestly. Cipher 3x, Parasite 3x, Chisel, any good in Eternal? It's alright in Eternal. Cipher, Parasite, Chisel is... Like, Cipher is points, neither of the other two are. A lot of corps have, you know, fewer than 10 pieces of ice. So dedicating that many slots to ice... oh, thanks, Mike. To ice destruction is tricky. Oh yeah, I should definitely be pinging myself with this, but yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, 5 minutes left. This is very like, this is looking a lot like a timed draw to me. Because there was apparently only 2 points in the corporation's top 24 cards, which is pretty wild, all things considered. Yeah, Blue Moose definitely getting some value here. Turn 15, I think it came down turn 1. So it's probably made... Oh my goodness. It's probably made 28 credits. After being installed for 6, it's still worth it. That's pretty wild. Yeah, the 2 AI breaker is a throwback. There were for a while, I think, decks that played both Faust and Eater. Oh shoot. Just to like make sure you could always land siphons. Let me see if I can get my thing working. Okay. Time to start trying to do too many things. Let's see if I can grab it. Alright, Eater, yeah. So Eater used to be run alongside with Faust because you could play it with Account Siphon and still get everything off. And that was really the whole deck, was you would just run AI breakers and usually a single corroder so that you could deal with wraparounds, because the game was very different back then. Let's see what I can do. Okay. Double Night decks were a thing. Yeah. I think actually the Deva Breakers technically have a semi-infinite now. Yeah, there was also the DDoS False Echo deck that abused Keyhole. Yep, that deck ran no breakers, though. Or I guess that so there was a version... Yeah, Rotage is the aficionado on the DDoS False Echo deck. And it would sometimes run a Faust or a Brahmin. It also is, I think, one of the only decks that just straight up is costs 7 points, to include DDoS, False Echo, and Hyperdriver is a 7-point cost combo now. So that's definitely something. Actually, Roto, I wonder if you could use Pishasao now, right? You just have to be able to keep reinstalling it from hand instead of the Hyperdriver. There's only technically one-turn combo, like one-turn kill corp deck that I know of. Oh, okay, there goes an Off-World Office. That's very good for Lucifer. They can probably just actually click through the Ancel. But I don't think they're in a huge rush to do so. Yeah, I think not having Hyperdriver does make it very, very tricky. Ooh. Is that a 5-3 in the remote? Probably behind a Managarm or an Ash? So the question for the runner is, do you go after that 5-3 or do you go for like a Keyhole? With not much time on the round, I kind of wonder... Oh, oops, that is time on the round. So I think Lucifer more or less needs to... yeah, power... Okay, getting a draw card here is pretty good. It might actually enable them to go through. So, let's see. If this is an Analytic Void, then nobody wins. Yeah, wow. This is... Lucifer's thinking that my kingdom for an Ice Carver here. Ice Carver would be saving him, like, probably about half a dozen cards this game, which would be pretty good. Yeah, not having a click to save is definitely scary. Boost, boost. Wow, so it's boost, boost, break the last sub, pay 6. And then pay 5, and your credit... Actually, you don't pay 6, you just trash some of your rig. You trash the 0, you trash the Gachapon. Or even you trash the... Yeah, the Amakua, because you're probably never getting that Amakua up to strength 4. But if this is the Ikoa, then you're in a pretty good spot, so you don't mind this at all. And this is, I would say, the longest Eternal game I think I've ever seen. Even the prison decks in Eternal are usually pretty fast to get to a kill state. Analytic Void is a problem in theory. I think in practice, if Dane goes for the... Oh, because there's no way to get through the Ancel, so this becomes a tie. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking like, oh yeah, Lucifer could just run through, but that's not going to work in this situation. Alright, so if Dane reses Void here, which is what they res, this is going to go to time on a tie. Because Lucifer has no way in to any servers. And Dane is not going to be able to score, I think, unless this is a 4-2 and they can go credit, advance, advance. So... Yeah, I mean, this Anarch deck really wanted Hippo, I think, to just slow down the Corp even more. Oh, you're right. They can get into HQ. Yep. They can go for the single on HQ. And it costs them... yeah. It costs them a bit, but... what's in Archives we can't see? 3 face downs, 3 scarcities. There's an Off-World Office face up. 2 Janices, a Regolith, an Ichi, and an Eli. Oh, the Ice. Yeah, it's an Ancel. Apologies. Is there an MK in the heap? There is an MK in the heap. Oh yeah, so the runner can get in. Oh yeah. Runner just should run archives here. What? Yeah, I can't say anything, but runner should just run archives here, right? Because it's 2 to install the MK, 6 to break, and you let them trash one of your cards, and you get the 2 points. I think Lucifer's just forgot there's an agenda in archives there. All right, so now we get to find out what the situation is going to be. Is this a 4-2 in server 1 or not? Yeah, but there's MKs right there, so I think Lucifer may have made a small mistake here, but it is what it is. I also, I'm not sure that Dane's that far ahead, because runner does have effectively infinite credits here. So, Lucifer, you won game 1, right? All right. So turns out that Baran Wu has to drop. And so I will hop in and we're going to see my games. I will not be able to look at the chat during these games, so apologies about that. I will try and talk through things. But it's not. I can't. It's a little bit trickier for me to chat about things. So apologies to everyone about that. We will pair the next round. Okay. So, Eternal 23. Round 2 is paired. Augustus, you're on call. If I get called out. Okay. So let's go check out the Cobra. So it's me making. We're at table 4. Corp and Eternal. I'm going to play my How Many Clicks CI deck. Yo. This is the best of all worlds. I now can't win the event. Hey, Radiant. Anyone here playing Eternal at the World's Team event? Not if I can help it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah. So yeah, as I said before, I'm probably gonna. Really, your team's making you. We'll see. Okay, so table 3, table 4, table 1. Just waiting, I think, on table 2 right now. Tableau versus Augustus. I'm going to go quickly check in on my... Okay. Okay, there we go. That's everyone. Okay. Timer, 65 minutes. Round 2 at Eternal. You may begin. Okay. This is a tough hand to keep against Andromeda, so we're going to take a mulligan. This is a much better hand to keep against Andromeda. Okay, so Andromeda, for those of you who don't know, is your starting hand is 9 cards. Okay. What do I want to do here? The big thing is that you often get account siphons off very early. My identity is my maximum hand size equal to the number of credits in my credit pool, which is usually an upside, very occasionally a downside. I think I'm going to go for the fairly greedy line of installing 2 cards and playing Violet level clearance. My goal is to try and avoid having to res this Ablative Barrier if I can, because then I can play Ultraviolet level clearance, which is a great card. Okay, so we're coming in for the account siphon. Oh, we're coming in for the Bravado. Yeah, I'm definitely not resing on Bravado here, because it lets me fire Rashida. Okay, my opponent snipes the Vitruvius. It is what it is. So what is my game plan, you might ask yourself? And that would be a great question that I don't have a super firm answer to. My game plan is basically make a bunch of money, draw a lot of cards, which is a pretty good game plan. So I'm going to go Scarcity, Drafter on HQ, and then play another Violet level clearance. I now have my recovery tech, so I actually don't even care about account siphons anymore. Your digital life basically means I'm invulnerable to account siphons now, and if my opponent does go for them anyway, I can just greasing the palm and fast advance with them instead. So this game is starting to look quite good for me. The goal of my deck is just to get down Jeeves and Wage Workers and fast advance out that way. It is not difficult for me to fast advance 5/3s. A Bionic Laborer with both a Wage Workers and a Jeeves res just fast advances a 5/3. I can get all of those on the board for one click with a shipment from Mirror Morph, potentially. So that's kind of the idea of the deck. I'm just going to draw through my deck as efficiently as possible. The Ultraviolet clearances are not going to do quite enough for me here, so it's probably a slightly slower turn. Yeah, so I think it's going to be Rashida behind a Gatekeeper in Server 2 and a Spin Doctor and a new remote. Against Krim, I don't need to, blitz, because they have a little bit of a harder time getting the... Ooh, okay, I'm going to regret now having, only 6 or 7 pieces of ice, and almost all of them are in the wrong server here now. Where are we? Yeah, 7 pieces of ice, so not great odds. But if they're not stealing agendas, I don't mind here. Because that probably means that there's some ice in the top. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I guess it's not exactly what I'm looking for, but... oh. It's all barriers, so I don't think Mike actually minds too much. So this is gain 4, draw 4, and I go down a card. So what we're going to do is, yeah, I think we're just going to ultraviolet clearance and then install a border control on R&D. And then we're going to end our turn. So, okay, we have wage workers, we have shipment from Mirror Morph, we've got biotic labor, so we can do a lot of advancing here. I actually think it's better to let him have this single access than getting 2 more accesses. I have a single Cyberdex virus suite. The fact that agendas are not being stolen here is absolutely wild. I only have 3 agendas, so only 4 agendas are gone from the deck, which is, I'm going to call it implausible to be polite here. Okay. So I now need to do a little bit of thinking. Okay, because I probably want Vitruvius with a counter. And I think I can do a little bit better than that even. So I think I can go red level clearance, install a non-agenda from hand. We'll put this in server 2, and then we'll gain a click. Then I'm going to res wage workers. Then I will... yeah, then I'm going to... okay, so I've played 1 event. I will biotic, going up to 4 clicks. And then, okay, so yeah, I think I can actually go your digital life, biotic. Yep, okay. And then I'm just going to install a Vitruvius in a new remote and go advance, 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 and score. I think the Vitruvius counter is worth a lot to me here. The other option would be doing something like another violet level clearance. It's definitely an option. So Manverupt has the line of click for 2 credits. Ooh, this is great for me here. Gatekeeper is a really fun fire here. I'm never shuffling back agendas here. I'm just trying to draw them. Okay. Shipment from Sansan is a card I'm trying out because it doesn't count as it counts as an operation, doesn't count as 2 clicks spent on operations for the purposes of wage workers, but it does for Jeeves. And so it gets you some fast advance lines in a couple of places. If it's like your 3rd event, which is sometimes a bit tricky, but I would really, really like to draw a Gatekeeper here. Luminal is better. Okay. 1 sec. Luminal is much, much better. Okay. So... do I still have... okay. So I can shipment from Euromorph out like a Spin Doctor, Biotic, Luminal. Do I need to shipment, though? Probably. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go shipment, put this in a new remote, put this in a new remote, and put Rashida in a new remote, probably. Oh, I don't actually need the Biotic Labor. I can do this with a cheaper card.
Welcome and thank you for volunteering your time
I can just grab the red level clearance. I can draw 2 cards, gain a click. Oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. Then I'm going to shipment from Sand, put 2 advancement counters on Luminal, which gives me 2 clicks, and then I can advance, and then I can score. Kinda. Okay. So I've just spent 3 clicks on events. It's actually like... Okay. So then we're going to install the CVS and R&D. We're going to install a Wage Workers and a new remote. And we're going to install an Ablative Barrier on R&D, which gets me a Wage Workers click. Then we're going to... let's see. It might just be the simple turn of gain a credit, play a violet level clearance, and then we will discard 1 scarcity, and then 1 ultraviolet. And maybe the other ultraviolet? So what do I need? I have event, and this event. Okay, so I have enough to score out a 5-3 from hand here, I think. Yeah, this is fine. All right. Let's add Biotic Labor to HQ. And we'll put a Rashida in a new remote. And I can score out from no credits here. Even if Manverupt gets both of the Rashidas we have on the table. If he gets both Rashidas... Yeah, because 3 credits is really all I need. I think. I'm pretty sure. Nope. So if he clears both tags, things get slightly interesting, I think. But if he doesn't clear tags... Ooh, this is going to make things funny. That's really interesting, actually, now. Okay. I think we have enough to muscle through it right now. Oh, wait. Okay, so we have a couple choices. We can go for a very easy line. But I think the Biotic Labor probably gets us there. Because this cuts off a click for us. Where's this card? So I can Greasing the Palm. We'll just do it on the Vacheron just for the maximum safety. Um, I think we go click for 2, gain a click. Okay. Now I'm going to res the second wage workers, and we'll play a subliminal. And then we will go advance, 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 and score. GG. So this is one of those things that people don't like in Eternal sometimes. But so it goes. Okay, and now we're going to play a deck that only exists in Eternal. What do we got? Table 4. This is a deck that I think is a little bit on the janky side, but I figured that was the part of the purpose of the event. So, all right, this is a great mulligan here, I think. I'm probably dead, but yeah, now I'm checking the chat. Yeah, there's not that much prison. There's like a lot of effort putting into making the format not prison based. So I'm glad that this is looking a little more appealing. Efficiency committee is definitely an option. Oof, I actually probably have to do some interaction now. Because Sensi is quite the card. Okay, so this is mid-season's kill. Yeah, okay. And I think we'll put down Hacktivist Meeting here. I don't need the bank card so quickly. Probably have the draw engine that I need. Oh, this is an awkward start. It's this, and I hope I don't lose damage right at the front. Yeah, I think Polop was underplayed, Aksu. Like, needing to run HQ is a requirement. That definitely hurts a little bit. But I think it was definitely underplayed. It beats up a lot of combos. That said, like, Skunk Void was, like, way stronger than anything we saw historically. Okay, we don't need all of our Bankars here. So we're going to go Peace in Our Time. Bankar, same old thing, hit the 0 button. We didn't hit the thing we needed to, but... So I need this Bankar to get there pretty quickly. I need to be able to clear out Mike's whole hand so that he can't just Breaking News flatline me. Breaking News is one of the premier threats in the format out of NBN. Let me go and find it. Giving the owner 2 tags is very often a flatline, as it turns out. Blue Moose, let's get rid of a piece. We never play our pieces a second time. R&D. That's what I was looking for, though. Okay. So now I can go... I think I do play the Ghost Tongue in this matchup. Okay. I don't steal agendas. I probably don't die right away. Like, Hardening News doesn't do much to me here. Mid-Seasons is the card I'm worried about, and Breaking News is the card I worry about. The nice thing is, after they score out Breaking News, I'll be able to hit them with a Clan Vengeance. So my goal, the goal of my deck here, is just to mill them out. Like that's the whole shtick. Okay, this is great. So I'm going to go Titanium Ribs, hit 2 I've Had Worses. Then I go Clan Vengeance, and then I install Marrow. And then I trash 1 card to core damage. Make me my second copy of Titanium Ribs. I will draw a card and Sabotage. And then I have to discard 2 cards. So there's also a line of play for me where I don't... I never actually install the Ghost Tongue. I just take the single core damage. And just stay on 7 cards in hand. And then it's very difficult to flatline me. Now, the right thing to do here is definitely wait till he advances, because I can always kind of Clan Vengeance reactively. Though Malia Zaloka is also a card that is in these lists, not explicitly for Clan Vengeance, but in practice, it ends up being quite good for Clan Vengeance in this matchup. And Mike's doing this. He doesn't actually really have to do this here. Oh, right. Yeah. Because Hacktivist Committee makes it an additional cost to res assets, and he has no cards in hand, so that is what that does. Now I just get to sprint through my deck, hitting exactly the card I need to hit every turn. We'll install a DDoS. We might install another DDoS, because who needs money? And so now I can get into any 2-ice server for free. Yeah, he could just res the Jackson Howard, because I'm probably not on Rumor Mill. It's hard to be on both Rumor Mill and Hacktivist. I believe Hacktivist is 2 points and Rumor Mill is 1. Oh, I don't need Breaking News up for this whole time. I am watching the stream a little bit here. Apologies. Yeah, Corp got the 36 credits by playing Restructures, which gains 5 each, so that's 15. Another, 2 hedge funds, Sweeps Week, and then I also gave them some money through Peace in Our Time. So it's not surprising to me. Not that surprising to me. Let's see. Well, let's just draw. We're about ready to reset the deck. This is a good card. This is a tech card for IG. Well, maybe we'll see that later. Basically, the idea is that there's at least one card in IG that stops you from drawing cards. And so you light the fire that so you don't have to worry about the trash cost. And then you also have to power up your clan vengeances. But next turn for me, nope. Okay. So this is going to be a pretty simple turn. Blue Moose, let's get rid of... We probably don't need the second Blue Moose. We will target HQ. Then we're going to 0, hit this. We'll draw 2. Yeah, we will sure gamble for 4, and then we will levy for 4. And... do I just draw? Like, I'm at no risk if I just draw here. Like, yeah, this is like, for Manvarup's list, this is a nightmare because I do not need to interact with him now at all, I think, to win the game. Yeah, this list has literally no breakers because I think my bet was that, that there's no such thing as a corp that can ice 3 times. Which has honestly worked out pretty well for me so far. Oh, I should have chosen R&D here, I think. But yeah, even if this is breaking news, I can just pop a Clan Vengeance to dodge. Because I have 2 Clan Vengeances, there can't be 2 Malia Zalokas, because so I'll be playing a 1 and 3, a 2 and 3 to not die. Okay, so we're on Astro Score. That definitely extends the risk a little bit. Blue Moose can hit the Ghost Tongue. We'll name R&D this turn. You know what? I think we'll give R&D a little poke. Credits are basically equal, and I've got the lock completely set up. Alright, that's not super fun. Okay, so we saw Levy, Marrow, and Blue Moose. So we'll hit an I've Had Worse. Then we'll hit a Blue Moose. And then we'll hit a Marrow. Yeah, Bankar also charging up the Clan Vengeances is something else too. So like my Breaker Suite is effectively Titanium Ribs Bankar. It just seems quite good. I'm guessing these are probably not sweeps. These are Hollywood thingies. Oh, okay, they're Jackson Howard's. Interesting. I'll probably nuke Mike's hand after he draws here. Yeah, I think Sealed Vault can stay. Sealed Vault is not uncommon tech for Account Siphon. It was never played in Standard, but people have played it in Eternal a little bit, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if it's actually right. And yeah, I am cheating on the chat a little bit here. Yeah, because it's like, normally it's the slot machine subs say if you revealed 2 or more, if you revealed 3 or more, yeah, but it's still part of the subroutine. It's not, there's a way you could word slot machine where it says it has to run lose 3, and then if you reveal 2 of the same cards, it gains you gain 3. If it oh, I definitely meant to. So I have to now do it on his draw every single go here now. Whoops. We'll run R&D. Event, hardware. That's fine. Ooh, yeah, I'll trash Jackson. That's really good for me. All recursion's gone now. That's not great for me. So I'm going to go action after access here, I think. Let's go inject, activist, and then action after draw. All set. So 24/7 news is a a big card. It costs a couple of eternal points if I remember. I don't remember exactly how many. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Okay. Blue Moose, let's get rid of this. We'll say HQ here. Let's try and get my second Clan Vengeance down. I'm gonna run server 9. We will trash the San. Oh, here's what I do. I overwrite my titanium ribs. In the one of the weirdest Netrunner plays of all time. Just to start getting damage ticked up on that one. Basically, right now, until I find the last breaking news, I'm actually in quite a bit of trouble here. Like, I thought I got away with it, and I'm actually, like, hurting quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to pop DDoS, and then I think light the fire server 4. We'll trash the Sealskin to draw 2 cards. Then we'll draw another card. And Mike has to sabotage 2. And I get into this server guaranteed. Alright, Gold Farmer makes a lot of sense. It's just a very good card. We'll trash this, and we'll trash this. Then we'll breach the server. Then I'll probably run R&D here. $18 face down in archives. I suspect I have it. Though actually, without Bologna's, it might be a little bit tricky. Well, I don't remember if this list can actually be on. Okay, well, there we go. GG. Wow, so yeah, there was just 5 points in archives. That makes sense. Or 7 points in archives. Yeah, 36 hearts. Okay, so we can see the rest of his deck. This is, yeah, Under the Bus, Trash Connection. Is this a connection? No, it's just a clan resource. Yeah. So the goal of the deck is to, like, one of the things this can do is it can play 24/7, forfeit an agenda to give the breaking news, give the runner 2 tags. Then it can Consulting Visit for high-profile target, sometimes for 4 damage. It probably also has Boom. Mid-seasons is another big... This is why the deck is just trying to print money as quickly as possible, because if the runner goes and interacts with your agenda, you just get to mid-seasons them, give them tags equal to which your trace exceeds, so you can easily give the runner like 15 tags, and then obviously high-profile targets really, really good. That actually makes 24/7 news a little bit more awkward in this list, because you're probably not on Boom, but maybe you are. But yeah, okay, now I need to go and input the results for the round. Runner split on table 3, and we've got 30 minutes. All right, so let's see. All right. Okay. So this is a board state. Oh, and I need to take down 24/7 news. Oh, whoops, that's wrong. This is all going wrong. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay, catching back on the stream. Oh, raindrops would be really good. Let's see. 5 strength, 3 cost ice should be illegal. Engram flush as well. Kamino would be quite funny against me. Explode Palooza is a neat agenda. That was a fun one. And yeah, the 15 credit your digital life was definitely good. It turns out I actually needed almost all of those, which is hilarious. Okay, so we've got Imtimu Kundu. This is once per turn when the runner approaches the server, you may install a piece of ice protecting that server in the innermost position, ignoring all cost. The runner is now approaching that ice. This got reworded slightly, so it basically triggers when Manic-Arm would trigger, which is sure something. We've got front companies, so that the runner can't even run on these remotes first. We've got wage workers and Jeeves and Estelle Moon. We've got clone suffrage movement. Boy, that is sure a... And it looks like, okay, we got more Estelle Moons and Friends in High Places, which is a single influence, which is just one of the more wild things out here. Yeah, this is the kind of asset spam that I'm not super happy to see, but... Oh, Manverupt, I thought you were going to say this was a straight out of Flatbread, which would be a great archetype name for this, because there was a Tiger Bread MT and a Tiger... Or it was probably RP, but But yeah, this is sure something. I actually think the runner should be in principle in a pretty okay spot here. It looks like their decks may be a little bit like this is an unusual set of cards. Yeah, Elwyn's RP deck was called Tiger Bread, so this empty deck could probably be called Flatbread. Okay, so Political Dealings gets installed. And Clone Suffrage Movement adds friends in high places. Political Dealing gets rezzed. So with Political Dealing, when you draw an agenda, you may reveal and install it. So that would allow you to advance a 5/3 from the top of the board. We're going to use Estelle Moon to put a Project Yagiura on the board. Spend 3 clicks advancing it, and we get 2 clicks back. One from G's, one from Wage Workers, because if HB can do it, why can't Jinteki? Soul Survivor, any mini faction decks running around in the meta. So in Standard, which is not what this event is, this is an Eternal event, mini factions just rotated as of 2 months ago. And in Eternal, they're a little bit too gimmicky to really be good. But Adam was seeing some really good play right before rotation. So thanks for swinging by, Soul Survivor. All right, then we see 2 more remote installs. So as the runner, you're definitely trying to figure out what's going on. As the runner, you're probably also asking, where is all my economy? It's definitely something that they're missing. This is an all-nighter. This is FFG reprinted all-nighter. All-nighter I've seen in some, in particular in some Haley Geist decks, where you can install this, install a tech trader, and you effectively clicklessly installed for a credit, which is quite 1 to 3 credits. All right, and we're seeing the very bold 3 credit Ngolo R&D Dirty Laundry. This is going to charge up Conduit, but not use Conduit. We see a Himitsubaku, which is actually Tableau 93 is credit perfect to go through. They spend 2 to paint with Ngolo and 1 to break. Oh, this is actually, I had not thought about this being quite good in MT, but the fact that you can add it to HQ and then move it around is very, very good for MT. That's a funny second life for this card. I was just say, like, why are we not playing Tatubola? But this is genuinely a good reason, because you can just move it. We see a second Conduit, which is a Shaper running 2x of a program. Seems like something out of 2013. All right, so it was triple advance of the last Yagayuda, and then clones are not people. A current that doesn't feel like it's a current. It just basically becomes an extra point. But that's what it is. Yeah, Corpse Side Mad Dash is a good way to talk about it. It is much harder to play than Mad Dash, but it's also 3 influence, so that makes things different. Okay, table 1 just finished, so we might actually be done with the round. Let me double check. We'll see. Okay, Corpse Split on table 2. And probably waiting for this matchup. All right, and here we see, yep. So one of the reasons I'm really high on Clan Vengeance in Eternal is because of how much it deals with all the combo corps. I think if you're going to play Anarch, you kind of have to. But we'll see. Let me go ping those two. Oh, okay. Looks like they're figuring it out right now. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, one of the things is like I originally thought that like there's no way mini factions could ever have a spot, but then I start seeing like my ESA deck is like actually doing reasonably well, and so I'm like there is a chance that that things are like winnable for mini factions. Let me very quickly pull up the standings so that people can see them, and then we'll do pairings. All right, so we've got 4 out of most people giving a thumbs up, but if you're watching the stream and you missed my ping on Discord, we're just gonna try and start the round a little bit early. Yeah, Oxu, there was a streamer for a while. I want to say Rask Plays, who was just like, he and his friend would get on, they would play Netrunner for an hour or two, and they would just build janky Eternal lists. Like, they had no idea of a points list. They had, they didn't look at power cards. They would just go like, oh, I want to build with this, and then they would go and do it. And that was a lot, like, it wasn't a stream I got to catch very often, and I think he stopped doing it because I was often the only person that would tune in for those nights, I think. But it was quite a bit of fun. You know what? I think, yeah, pairings are up, so I should just say pairings are up. Okay, let me go and make my table. And let's zoom back in. Table 1. I somehow managed to make it to table 1 despite missing the first round, which is fortunate for me. I think if I sweep Lucifer, I have a chance of winning the event. As long as no one else sweeps as well. So we'll see. But all right. Yeah, insert the it's rude to be bad at it's rude to be bad at World of Warcraft video here for sure. Oh god, I started very briefly working on an outline for going from gateway to standard, which will also then be an argument for going from startup to standard. Oh yeah, that's true. You could just say like if you do like a 1 or a 3-point Eternal event, I don't think anyone's gonna like. It's actually hard to make stuff that's super broken. Yeah, 3-point Eternal I think is like, oh, you can play if one of those cards is your pet card, you can do it, but you're not gonna do anything broken. And I think that puts like 3 points is you get one of the most busted Eternal cards, or 2, or maybe 3, and you and your friend can have a lovely time. I think we're just waiting. It looks like we might be just waiting on Dane. So let me just shoot them a quick. Asking them what their ETA is. Yeah, I think 0 Point Eternal could also be a format. Like, when you look at the number of cards that are actually pointed is fairly small. Well, okay, it's not fairly small, but there's not that many like fun cards. Like if I look at one, it's like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 corp cards, and like 4 or 5 of those are IDs. Yeah, no, for sure you will. There's a lot of binder fodder that would still never see play. But you could definitely see a lot of other things that could be a lot of fun. Like, you could just do, like, good stuff max, and that would be quite a bit of fun. Stuff like Levy isn't pointed, so you can do some really fun runner engines. The biggest concern might be that too many corp power tools are pointed, but that's something you could figure out on your own. Because often for the corp cards, it's like a combination of 2 or 3 of them is kind of the thing that's actually why it's on the points list. Rather than it being completely overpowered. But yeah. Just waiting for Dane, I think. But yeah, let me quickly scroll back up. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. Apologies that you're going to see me play, or you're going to see slightly lower variety of all decks because we ended up watching Luca for round 1. You've already seen me play my decks once. But so it goes, I guess. All right, GLHF. I think this card, I don't need to get into the remotes early in this list, so I don't feel like I need these 3 eternal, like, remote piercing cards. Let's try and get some other stuff. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna Ghost Time. I think I can probably, so the thing I want to do is like run, and then play the Hacktivist here. The reason being, if I can slow them down a lot, I get all the time in the world to go and actually do root things. I suspect we're going to see this popped here, but I'm not 100% on that. Okay, but this... Well, I guess Elvigar is still a thing, but... making making him pay for the team sponsorship rise, I think is something that's I'm okay with. But I don't need to run too aggressively here. I can actually be... I can probably wait till it gets to like 3-4 points before I really have to put the pedal to the metal. But just keeping agendas off the table is fine for me. Yeah, I don't need any of these cards. The ribs would have been very nice, though. We will run server 3 first. Oh wow, second spin doctor. I only have 1 credit, so you actually shouldn't pop this, but... That's an easy thing to miss. Okay, so time to slow down a little bit. I think next turn is probably click for 3 credits, install a blue moose. Do I have a card I can get rid of? Not actually easy. I could probably get rid of the titanium ribs, actually. I think this was better than trying to threaten server 5. I do probably need to threaten server 5 at some point. Because Lucifer can actually combo out from 0. It's just a little bit unlikely, I think. The interesting thing is it's all in one paid ability window. So I actually don't have any opportunities to pop Clan Vengeance. I basically will have to do it at the start of a turn. So the big thing here is going to be probably trashing the team sponsorships. This is probably going to be a good matchup for Marrow. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be remove the ribs, draw a card probably, and see where we can go from there. Okay. Okay, great. This is good. Oh, Light the Fire is actually great here too. Alright, so if Lucifer doesn't score this turn, I'm probably okay. If Lucifer does score this turn, I'm in some real trouble. Okay. It's 2 spin doctors. So my choices are between running stuff and not running stuff here. Right, like I could just Bankar server 5. Oh, this is actually a very nice play, I think. Blue Moose hits the Ghost Tongue. Server 5. I'm gonna go credit. Clan Vengeance. Light the Fire. And then I ask for action. Now, would it have been a nice play piece in our time? Absolutely. But we don't always get what we want, right? The funny thing is I might be able to 2-for-1 here. Because now I can go Light the Fire on server 6. Spin Doctor can't be popped, and all 3 Spin Doctors are gone. Now I'm still missing 0. I don't have that much draw. So I don't think I'm out of the woods by any means here, but we can definitely pilot. Yeah, Mike, I meant 2 for 1 in terms of getting 2 cards for 1, for sure. The other option, 0 credits or 2 credits, I don't think I can reliably threaten anything that goes in that remote. Maybe I get rid of... Yeah, I think Hacktivist is fine here. Draw. Steel Skin. I want credits so I can actually go and trash stuff next turn. So we're going to do this. I played the 1 piece in our time that I need. And now, hopefully, Lucifer doesn't win. It's not impossible for Lucifer to win here. I just don't have a lot of options if he does. But if he doesn't win this turn, I think I can just go trash the team sponsorship, check server 8, check server 7, maybe even check server 5. Probably in a slightly different order. But yeah, the team sponsorships are the most important thing to go down. So it might even be 1, 7, 8, 4 in terms of things I want to check. Because, yeah, the team sponsorship is what lets him do his combo here if I have 0 agendas in my hand. And this is the cool thing that the Sportsmetal deck does, is it threatens if the runner chooses to not interact, and then if the runner does choose to interact. Now, it's much faster when the runner does choose to interact. But yeah. So yeah, when I say if the opponent just wins here, right? It's if he has the combo this turn, I just I have no points of interaction because my Clan Vengeance I can't use while he's scoring. It does the entire combo inside of a single paid ability window without ever passing back to the runner, which is honestly super cool. It's one of the funnest things I think you can do in card games. It's bullshit and shouldn't be in standard, but is pretty good otherwise. I don't know. Okay, yep, there's a second team sponsorship. Okay, so I might be in real trouble here. Okay, we're gonna res the Arella in server 5. Cali testing. Okay. Okay, so there's no Arella here. So I'm safe. I don't lose this turn. And now I get to go and dismantle most of the combo in exchange for another 2 points, I think. So this is pretty good. For me, at least. Because now I get to go, yeah, trash, trash. And probably just run server 5 as well. Just like, zoop, up the whole board. Ah, Spin Doctor in server 9 is very good. That's a good call. That's funny. Okay, so my play was less brilliant than I thought, because of course Team Sponsorship gets the Spin Doctor back. Blue Moose, I don't think I need another piece in our time. We'll put this on server 5. I think we'll actually run server 5 first. If my opponent's very gracious, I get some cards back here. Well, I think, yeah, there's, no, threat 3, right, on Ablative Barrier. Let's check. Let me check it the silly way. Yeah, threat 3. Okay. It's not ideal. Estelle Moon. Install it from archives. Okay. Hit the steel skin. What do we lose? Peace in our time. That's fine. Okay, so this is 4 credits to trash everything. Then we're gonna run server 9. This I probably won't need to trash. And I think trashing the Team Spo is better than trashing the Estelle Moons. I definitely had an amped up in here for a little while. Mostly because I liked its art more than running hot. And this would definitely be a turn where you want it. But now all Spin Doctors are gone. There's only one team sponsorship left. I don't know if Lucifer's on Archive Memories. He probably is. So it's not like sealed up or anything. And this is an Estelle Moon that we probably need to run. But we can kind of control the board here. Okay. We'll install Estelle Moon in server 5. Or install a card in server 5, I should say. Yeah, the nice thing is now I actually have a net damage a turn. I get to go into server 5 still here, which is pretty good for me.
And now, broadcasting live from our near-Earth hub studio, we bring you
Blue
this
Moose, get rid of this.
special report.
Do server 5. We will install DDoS. We will pop DDoS. And we'll make a run on server 5. If we lose the DDoS here, we're definitely in a little bit of trouble. We did not lose a DDoS, that's great. Okay, Vacheron. So we now really have to slow the game down. We'll run server 10. I think 7 and 8, if they were team sponsorships, would have been rezzed when the agenda was scored. So, I've got a little bit of time. So what I might actually do next turn is install the DDoS and run server 5, assuming Lucifer installs something in it, with the intent to just kind of draw 2 cards, get some Clan Vengeance power, and not particularly looking to do much else, because he would have to have a 4 subroutine ice for that to end for that to kill me, which I think is unlikely. Now, if I do that, though, it means I never get to go in server 5 again for the rest of the game, which seems dubious. Oh, I forget that this deck has friends in high places, so I'm just absolutely boned. Oh, goodness, I forgot about friends. Ugh, okay. I mean, player who's trying to not interact at all, complaining about friends in high places, like, I don't know about that one. Okay, so we're going to install DDoS. We're going to run HQ. Man, Friends is sure a card. It's probably going to be draw a card. Okay, fast break's good to see. Ooh, popping the Estelle is also good to see. Oh, that's great. With a fast break in hand, I start to get a little bit worried. Maybe I don't actually need to fire that yet. But I do want to slow Lucifer down here, because server 5 is tricky for me to contest right now. Okay, server 14, so this... yeah. Oh, interesting. Server 8 was the agenda. That's not great for me. This doesn't recur from... Oh no, you may create a new server by installing up to 3 cards from HQ and or archives. Oh, that's really bad for me. That's really, really bad for me. Because this just recurs the whole Doom server. But it has to be a new remote server. So I can DDoS at ban card if there's anything installed in that server. If there isn't, I can click for a credit, trash the team spo, or I can inject, then figure out what the rest of my turn looks like. From archives. You know, this Light the Fire is feeling pretty good here. Do I have a way of recurring it? I don't think I do. Yeah, resing all these cards now to avoid the hacktivist meeting. So I need to get to 4 credit. Oh, are we scoring out? Oh, that's no good. That's pretty bad. That's quite bad. Yeah, that's very, very, very bad. I might have to run archives this turn. It's not what I want. Shoot. Because he does not need much to win here. Okay, what are we getting rid of? These are all cards I like. We're not getting to our second levy this game. I think server 5 is the ping. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so draw is safe. I think I probably lose to a lot of things here. But I'm just gonna hope that he doesn't have them in hand for this turn. But Game Changer just wins the game on the spot here. So the correct call was actually the Bankar HQ, so I could at least try and snipe it out of hand. Man, 4 turns is so long and eternal. Okay, Estelle's... I mean, Estelle's not good for me. But it's at least something I can play around. HQ, I think, is definitely the target now. So it's sure gamble. Let's run HQ. Because I really just need to get this Game Changer out of the game. Didn't see it. Okay. Maybe I'm supposed to run Estelle Moon first here. Yeah, I think I was supposed to... Second Vacheron out on the board. Ugh. This is my hope of winning, was that I would have been to Vacheron into Archives. Yeah, it takes very little for Lucifer to win from here. Yeah. Oh, I have 50-50 on the Game Changer. Oh, that's brutal. Oh, 50. And this draw is terrible, too. Like, 2 Clan Vengeances, all 3 zeros. So it goes. Yeah, this actually... It's wild. Also, yeah, 7 points in my score area. But, hey, so it goes. Boy, that was a game of Eternal. Let's see. So this is 8 plus 7, 15. So there'd be at most 5 points. So running Archives would have been bad anyway. Cool. Let's get the second game up. All right. Well, there goes my dream of winning the event despite not playing round 1. This is why you gotta protect for variance. Yeah, I think this is a playable hand. This seems quite playable, honestly, against Max. Okay, so I think it's probably going to be Drafter, Wage Workers, VLC. This feels great. Yeah, I think we just keep going up the value chain. I'm going to try and avoid resing the ultraviolet clearance. Avoid resing the Drafter. Ooh, Keyhole is spicy. So I could lose to Vacherons quite quickly here. I think I only have 2 Vacherons on the list, but it won't take much 2 Vacherons, 2 GFIs. Yeah. Yeah, if he doesn't go after them this turn... Oh, goodness me, though. Going down 5 points turn 1. I think this play is usually bad, but, you know, sometimes it's not. Okay, so now that I have one piece of ice in hand, I feel safe to go Ultraviolet, Gatekeeper on R&D. And it's going to be tight, but I think I probably stabilize from here. Let's see. So if I can get one more event, I can fast advance the Luminal. Yeah, actually, that's kind of why they also saw 5 points there, because we had another 5 in hand, so that was 10. So, I mean, there's only 7, 6. There's like almost no points left in the whole deck. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so we probably do want a second piece of ice. I mean, sure, right? Okie dokie. So I'm feeling like I can probably push through it here. I think I'll trade a single. I do lose on 2 of the singles in my hand, so it's like a 1 in 7 to lose on a single axis in HQ. Which definitely can happen. Okay, good. They didn't get the 1 in 7, so their luck was not so wild. Okay, does the wage workers trash matter here? Probably slightly. Yeah, it actually matters quite a bit. Okay. Let's just Ultraviolet, and we'll just put the second drafter on HQ. And then I owe a card or 2 here. Probably not the CVS. Not the Mirrormorph, maybe the Rashida. And... is that the second Rashida? It might be. Okay, so I've got enough ice to do whatever I need, in theory, for the rest of the game. We do have MK in the bin, though. I missed that. Boy, our opponent's just going to come in for singles and have decent odds. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 1 in 4 or something to win. Yeah, GG. Jesus. Oh. I think there are 2 agendas left in R&D. Yep, 2 agendas left in R&D here. Lol. Oh well, that's how it goes sometimes. I think I probably win this matchup 9 times out of 10, where this matchup doesn't unfold exactly the way it did. All right, well, that was not the result I was expecting, I'm going to be honest. Let's go see. We have not seen, I guess this is Caesar's, Crim. Oh. Whoa. Okay, so we milled out IG. Wait, what? How did IG get milled out? Like a DLR? There's like no... Andy played like no cards. What? Oh, power shutdown. Okay, so this is more the person I was expecting. So it's literally just value power shutdown. I feel like you randomly lose sometimes if you value power shutdown. Because like if the runner has... Wait, but... Wait, does Lockme say archives? Okay, this is really clever, actually. Well, that's a really cool Eternal deck. I suspect it's a little bit that silly. So Rotage, the yeah, so power shutdown got unerrated basically. To just work the way it used to. To me, I'm like, oh, the runner can also draw up to 6, run archives, decline to steal any agendas, and then just go trash the Keeling the following turn. Runner can also, Corpier can just res the museum to dodge, but that's not for me to point out.
Welcome and thank you for volunteering.
All right, so we've got the last table, I think.
Focus group. Your opinions are valuable to us and we want to know what they are.
Oops.
Tell us everything.
Yo.
Everything.
All right. So we got a Lorea sweep and a runner split. All right, so this is the last set of the matches for the day. We've got, once again, Arctics of Tomorrow, and we get to see Mike's actual criminal list rather than Mike sitting there while I play Netrunner on my side of the table. Or I play Combo Builder on my side of the table, I guess.
Tell us everything.
And here we go, running Archives twice, and now we get to encounter Loki, which is a bio right. So I would not be surprised if Dane actually reses the Archives ice here. And then goes for an immediate purge. A Chronos project, that's an unusual include, but is a good piece of tech. If I'm Mike here, I might just run R&D for a single, spending 3 clicks and then draw a card, something like that. But we'll see. And we did get a crowdfunding off the triple run on Archives, but that's probably the last triple run on Archives we're going to see. Maybe if Mike decides to forgo the Amakua, he could triple charge, but that kind of seems like a not great idea. So probably going to just keep drawing and hope to find whatever real breakers he's put in the list. Dane's certainly living off of everyone saying that ice doesn't exist in Eternal. So... Aaron Marone, a card we actually haven't seen but is on the Eternal points list. Whenever an agenda is scored or stolen, place 2 power counters on Aaron Marone. It says, house with power counter, remove 1 tag, and draw 1 card. He's just very good. Stealing an agenda and getting to draw 2 cards for 2 credits, very good. The fact that it triggers when your opponent scores, also very good. The fact that this also removes tag, hey, that's just even more upside. This card is absolutely wild, and the way it interacts with a lot of tag kill decks is it like hits them coming and going, where it both gives the runner hand size and clears the tag in a lot of cases. So it's quite solid. And it is quite a lot of Eternal points. I think if I'm Manverupt, I just run server 1 here, click 1. There's very little that this can be. It's unlikely that the ice can actually get rezzed on server 1. So it just seems like a good click. Yeah, you're discarding 4 cards from your hand, but a lot of those you weren't going to end up playing anyway, I think. And you do get to deny Architects of Tomorrow value if they do choose to res. They can only really res the Eli and the Nausea. If they res the Nausea, you maybe bounce, because they've got some 4-costers they could res. But yeah, Ravana and Eli are the worst. You click through those and you get a credit. Oh yeah, Bravado, click 1 on the remote. It's exactly what I want to see. Gives you lots of little economic-led push. Okay, so Ravana, I think you probably click through, and then if they, I don't think there's, if this is like an Eli behind it, you just say you got me. You're on 0 credits. We can continue on with this game. Because I don't think you actually want the Trash This Program subroutine to fire, so you're probably clicking through this anyway. Though maybe you can just give up the Amakua here. But it just becomes a, do I want to give up? Are 2 clicks worth my Amakua? Is probably the question here. And apparently, Manverup says, nope. My 2 clicks are worth more. I'm not sure I agree, but I guess with Dane at 0 credits, it's not unreasonable. So then we're probably going to install 2 cards from this hand to make this play worth it. Deuces. Alright, we've got 1 click with which to dump 5 cards out of our hand. Oh, I guess running a Loki last click could be kind of fun, but we can't break the gained and the run subroutines, so. Okay, Leech, Paperclip, and Amakua. I feel like the Leech you probably wanted. But I don't, you know, maybe there's another Leech in hand. But yeah, now you can start running R&D for effectively 2 credits, right? Because Desperado pays you back 1. Desperado, Grown Up, Penny Shaver. Oh, and here comes the medium. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, the reason I'd want to keep... Oh, Stimhack too. Wow, Manverup's going through all the classics. This is looking like true back to basics anti-sucker. Yeah, the Leech seems real nice here, though. It saves you a credit every run. Okay, so this was an Eli. So Manverup's call was actually pretty solid. It was a stim hack from hand. I don't think we actually needed that stim hack. Or that account siphon. Like, I actually think Leech might be better than account siphon here. In a weird turnabout, because you just want to minimize how many credits you're actually spending here. Dane is doing a good job of vamping himself as Architects of Tomorrow, so... I might go one more time here, but I could also see just drawing a card. I think that's fine too. Oh no, but you want your crowdfundings back. Yeah. So you do go in the 3rd time. It's much better. This is like a click for... This pays back basically all the credits, I think, because there's all 3 crowdfundings in the heap. So 3 runs, spent nothing on the first run, spent 2 on each of the second ones. Ooh, an accelerated beta test. That could be very bad for Manverupt. A Janus 1.0 gets to put a nice 8 strength sentry on R&D. That is a big un. That's a real big un. But Galter's not too happy to see this, I think. I think, you know, having a Leech might be a thing that he wanted. Oh, yeah. Do you not know what Accelerated Beta Test does? When you score Accelerated Beta Test, you may look at the top 3 cards of R&D. If any of those cards are ice, you may install and res them, ignoring all costs. Trash the rest of the cards you looked at. How is this fair? Because it's super fair. What if the top of your stuff isn't, sometimes Accelerated Beta Test trashes, like, an operation and 2 agendas. That happens, pretty often. Like, this was just a swingy card. And honestly, I'm not even sure if Dane has even just one here, so to speak. I also think, Mike missed an opportunity. Oh, no, missed an opportunity to use Aaron Marone on Dane's turn to get an extra couple of draws. Yeah, I mean, no. So, like, Accelerated Beta Test wasn't reprinted for a reason. Sometimes it's completely unfair, and it does just instantly win the game. It was a big part of how HB Fast Advance was really good for a long time. Like, this is definitely one of the best ABT fires. But if you think about it, the cost of this is that Dane had to include Janus 1.0. And then, like, Fairchild 3 is a card you're always including. But stuff like Bran, Ichi 1.0, like, if you're not including the... Like, if you include this in your deck, you're paying some other costs. I actually think Boomerang is a card you probably do want to keep, because install a Boomerang on a Janus means you can then go run, click, click, and then get through the Eli. And we got a Bukalter coming down. Makes some sense. Janus 1.0, is this higher base strength than Num? I wonder. No, okay, so you can use Num to break a Janus. For a steal. Actually, like, legitimately spending 8 credits to get through a Janus is pretty good, considering that Mike's going to be spending 7, 11, 9 credits. You know, Augustus, I would not be that shocked if that did come up in playtest at some point, and someone said that Num should be able to break Janus. It's, given what happens in playtesting, it would be pretty in character for us. So. Okay, what are we rebirthing into? 419? I think it's gotta be 419 at this point. Leela seems not good enough. We're not doing Steve. We're not doing Nero or Khan. Excuse me? Why are we not going into 419 here? What multi-access are you playing? I feel like you want to be 419 here so that, like, either you slow down Dane even more and try and deck him out. Right, but we're not going to medium anymore. Medium might as well be blank, right? Medium is a blank card. This ice costs 11. No. Yeah, this ice costs 9 credits. Costs 11 credits to go into the server once. Versus this server, which costs 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, this costs 11 to go through the server all the way through. That's true. I guess we could, like, do a turn where we just take a bunch of core damage and go for the Hail Mary. It just seems unlikely to me. 6. We can run Archives for -4. Yeah, it looks like this accelerated beta test did in fact win the game. I think Mike can make 2 R&D runs. And, oh yes, I don't know if this Vanity Project is actually in the deck, but it is a funny card that you can include in Eternal decks. It is a 6/4. And yeah, camping the remote does seem correct here. You know that there's a void in the remote. Yeah, like I think you actually just run server 1 here. There's no reason to go all out. If Dane spends 2 cards and 2 credits, they can't keep doing that forever. But maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, the Paul-Op discard also seemed a little bit suspicious to me. Because you've already seen 1 Void, and if you can just run HQ at some point, which is actually completely doable, you can just completely blow up the Corpse game plan. What's the most expensive ice that you can beat by clicking here? It's probably Bran for 2. I think, yeah, you click Janus 3 times, right? Yeah, this play is also not terrible, though, of just slow rolling it. If you steal, you can think about going back in, but otherwise you just click, click, click. Yeah, maybe this is why you play Xayah, is because you're... I mean, the thing is, I think 419, like, costs Dane a credit here. And I think, like, next turn you can go run R&D, triple click the Janus, take a core damage, see 2 cards. Yeah, I don't think Steve is really the call. I think it's... Oh, Pinhole! Oh, Mike, I was wrong to doubt you. Though I don't think we're going in this turn. I think we're going in a future turn. Ooh, and a Friends in High... So an advanced score, an off-world office. Friends in High Places back a Void and a Void. I think you still run R&D here, spending 3 clicks, taking a core, then spend 2, and then let Dane discard their own cards from hand. Because they don't seem to be going anywhere quickly. But I think we're kind of all trapped here together. Waiting for Dane to close this one out, though it's not impossible for Mike to win from here. Get the 2 back, and then you get to go through the Eli. Yeah, seems all right. I mean, it's the best you can do. Let's see, so it's 5 to break this. It's no more than 4, 5, 6. Yeah, like HQ is actually in theory runnable. It's very tricky though. But yeah, I think this is Dane's game at this point. So. I will say I don't think this AOT deck is particularly strong. You've seen it win once, or this is going to be a decisive win on stream. It's going to be a close game against Augustus, who is playing, let's say, Reg Anarch. And I don't think this list is going to do well to a lot of damage disruption. And I think, like, Siphon Eater Anarch is going to be pretty happy to play against it. Oh, and here we can see Chronos Project do its actual thing, which is remove cards from the game. So definitely good that we didn't go into Steve. Yeah, getting 27 credit. It was 21. It was like 25 credits off of scoring a 3-2. Oh, you're right. It wasn't. You're right. It wasn't Custis. It wasn't you. It was the guy who actually won the event. It was Lucifer. My bad. Wait, did it do the brand as well? Yeah, I'll go complain to Mike about the Streamlabs settings, because I think it doing all caps and doing symbols is weird. I didn't realize it did the brand. That's wild. I thought it just did the two things. Janice, Fairchild 3, and brand. Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, so that was 21 plus 3, 6. So it's really like 35 credits worth of installs. Because you also have to include the 2, 4, yeah, the positional savings as well. Oh, here comes an account siphon. Oh boy. I mean, this is gonna land. There's no way this doesn't land, amusingly enough, I think. Oh, that might be how this doesn't land. Let's see. What is this gonna cost? Can he do it? He could trash this, boost break. I think he actually had enough there. Because it was 3 credits, there'd be 6 credits, and that gets through anything on the Loki. It probably costs quite a bit, but it gets through everything. It's interesting. I think this style of Andromeda list is actually I clicked on archives. This style of Andromeda list is thought to be quite strong. I think it's a little bit of you have to know how to play for the meta. I would also just not play Caldera. I think it's a wasted slot by and large. Are we gonna go click through Ravana? I feel like that seems right. Yeah, click through Ravana. Oh, and we're missing that leech counter that I mentioned. We'll see. Because this is an Ikoa that protects itself. I also do think you can play Siphon Anarch. Yeah, taking a core damage or 2 isn't too bad off of the Loki, though, compared to 5 credits. Yeah, this is why you probably play Anarch or Shaper in Eternal. I'm a little bit sad we didn't see any Shaper today. I think it's actually in probably a pretty good spot. I could see both Haley and Arasana being quite good. Oh, there was a Kate, and Baramu had to drop after winning his one Wu game. So we'll have to ask him later what he was playing. Yeah, there's no... Oh, I guess 5 points you do have to run that this turn. Yeah, just lots and lots of big expensive ice. So this list is all about firing the ABT. All right. All right. So Dane wins that set. We're going to complete. And we've got final standing. So Lucifer with a dominating 16 out of a possible 18 points. Laria in second. Dane in third with 10. And then a bunch of people at a little bit below that. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for the stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun to cast. And hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you, if you were playing, enjoyed the event overall, and hope that this is a little bit helpful for prep for Barcelona BCom, where we will have an Eternal team event. I'll probably try and do some Eternal streams on my particular channel, Yuzengar and SC, but this is, of course, the Null Signal Games channel. Thanks for tuning in, and I will probably see you... Actually, we might still see you in September for an AMT. Well, I'll see about what the schedule looks like for that, but if not, then we'll see you in October. Bye.